Hi friends, welcome back to Wednesday Formation Fun. How are you doing? How's your week going? Today it is beautiful and sunny and I am so grateful for the sunshine, hoping to get out and go for a nice walk later today. Hoping you are too, if the weather is nice where you're at. So today I was thinking about spiritual gifts. And this came up because I have been really thinking about the students that I know, whether they be graduating from high school or college, and thinking about the importance of naming gifts, right? And I don't know if this has ever happened in your life, but for me, I have needed the people around me to help me name the gifts that they see in me, because it seems like it's easier for them to notice them than for me. I struggle when someone asks me, what gifts do you have? I take pause because I don't know how to answer that question. And so as I reflected on it and was able to ask the people who surround me and love me and care for me, I was able to get some clarity around that. And so if that is something that you share with me, I would invite you to do that. I would invite you to ask those around you. And today I want to focus on how we then get to help others name those gifts. But before we do any of that, I want us to turn to scripture. We're going to turn to 1 Corinthians, where we get to see talk of spiritual gifts. We're going to start with chapter 12, verse 4. Now there are variety gifts, but the same Spirit, and there are varieties of services, but the same Lord, and there are varieties of activities, but the same God who activates all of them in every one. To each of them is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. And then it goes on to name some of these spiritual gifts. And I would encourage you and invite you to dive into those scriptures and learn more about those. And see it there. You can see it in Romans. And it goes on further to talk about how we are one body, right? With all the different parts. And how important that is, right? For we all bring different gifts to the table. And it is through those gifts that we get to fully embody and encounter Christ. That's pretty important. I think about just our staff alone at St. Albans and how I've experienced that, especially during this time, but all throughout, right? Is that we each bring something different to the table. And it's those different gifts that really create this richness, right? I think about that in our communities. Where have you seen that in your life? So for our formation this week, I guess the challenge I want to lift up is I would like to there's a few ways that we, to explore this. One would be if you have someone graduating in your life, whether that be a high schooler or a college student, I would invite you to write them a note, make them a video, have a phone call with them, and tell them about the gifts that you see in them, the ways that you could see God using those gifts. And I would ask that you pray for them and pray for those gifts to be used to glorify God. Another option would be take some time to think about your own gifts. What gifts has God given you? How do you use them to glorify God? Lastly would be to have conversations with others. Perhaps you have a dear friend that you've really been thinking about. Perhaps you could write them a note or have a phone call with them and helping just give thanks for the gifts that they have, that you see in them, and what those mean to you. How have they glorified God? I can think about people in my life who I continue to see God through their gifts, right? I have a friend who is extraordinary with people. And the way that he is able to connect with them, I know that people experience God's love through him because of that gift of connection. I know several teachers, and I think about just the extraordinary gift teachers are. who teach us about patience and kindness, and who help us explore the world and gain more understanding. So who in your life can you be lifting up? Who in your life can you be celebrating the gifts? How are you using your gifts? So we end there today. I would love to hear stories of the ways that you're using your gifts, or the celebrations of people that are using their gifts and what that means for you. Find me on Facebook. Email me at youthed@stalbans-bexley.org. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Peace be with you, friends.